There's a ton of Vanguard clans as it is right now, and I got the question of, what if there was one more? Well, today we're going to be talking about my own personal clan that I've created called the Mystic Arcana. This is a protect clan from the Dark Zone with the theme of soul charging for your opponent and getting advantage based on the number of cards in their soul. But before we get into how the deck actually works, I want you guys to leave a comment of what deck ideas you might have or what clan ideas in the comment section below. This way in the future I can make more of these videos and give you guys some credit based on your creativity. So if there's a mechanic that you want to see implemented into the game, or if there's a really cool theme that you want to see, let me know and I'll probably make a video of it in the future. Anyways, let's get started with the grade 3s, as they're generally the best way to get an idea of how the deck's going to work. Now, like I said, this is a protect clan, and both the grade 3s I have here will have protect markers. So the first one will be the World. It has the continuous effect that when your opponent's Guardian is retired, they place it into the soul instead of the drop zone. So think of it almost as the opposite of Demon Eater. It forces your opponent to build a pretty big soul, giving you some advantage whenever they want to play defensively. So it's a really cool balance that your opponent has control over. Now it also has the auto ability that when this unit attacks a Vanguard from the Vanguard circle, if your opponent has 10 or more cards in soul, you can send one card from their rear guard into their soul. If a card was put into soul this way, your opponent cannot guard with units of that grade. So what's nice about this is you're not restricting perfect guards in most cases, as your opponent won't have grade 0s on the field usually. But at the same time, if you're paying attention to their drive checks, you can easily manipulate how your attacks go and how effective your turn will be. It's a pretty cool way to balance that guard restriction idea without actually making it broken like with Waterfall. And again, that effect only goes off if your opponent has 10 or more cards in soul, so if they're soul blasting, they can stop this effect in general. The next grade 3 we're going to talk about is the Wheel of Fortune. This card has the continuous ability that this unit gets plus 5,000 power and plus 1 crit if your opponent has 10 or more cards in soul. It also has the act ability that you can send a rear guard from your field into your soul and force your opponent to do the same. After doing that, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So we're looking at a card which can get a crit, which is pretty nice. And on top of that, you can get a little bit of field manipulation by giving up some of your fields, sort of in the way that Shadow Paladin does with Phantom Blaster Dragon. So with that, I hope you guys have a pretty good idea of how that deck would kind of theme around. You're going to build up your opponent's soul to give yourself some advantage, and you can manipulate their field and punish them for overextending. Going into the grade 2s, we're going to start off with Temperance. When placed, your opponent's soul charges 1, and this unit gets plus 5,000 power. If your opponent has 5 or more cards in soul though, this unit gets plus 10,000 instead. It's kind of your bread and butter grade 2, it just swings for some pretty big numbers and forces your opponent to soul charge. It should be pretty effective, and you're not going to complain too much about running it, I don't think. The next card is the Hanged Man. It's a grade 2 with the continuous ability that this unit gets plus 1,000 power for each card in your opponent's soul. So you're aiming to get 10 cards in your opponent's soul in general with this deck, so at best, it's a 10,000 power boost. However, again, Soul Blasting lowers this unit's power, but in general, I think this is a pretty cool card. And the final grade 2 we're going to take a look at is the Chariot. So when placed, you can counterblast 1, and if your opponent has 5 or more cards in Soul, you can draw a card. So it also has the auto ability that when this unit is sent from rearguard to Soul, you give another unit 5,000 power till the end of the turn. So this is going to work pretty well with the Wheel of Fortune's ability, as you can basically sacrifice this card, kill one of your opponents, and you're getting 10,000 power across your board, which is pretty cool. On to the grade 1s, we're going to start off with the Seer of Triumph. This card is a grade 1 with the Counterblast 1. When your opponent Soul Blasts, you can draw that many cards. So basically, if they Soul Blast 1, you can Counterblast 1 to draw 1. If they Soul Blast 5 or 10, you get a lot of advantage. This card's all about risk management, knowing when to Counterblast, and your opponent knowing when they should Soul Blast. Again, they can retire this card and avoid the problem altogether. However, in general, if they want to use some of their more powerful effects, especially in clans like Dark Irregular, this is going to punish them for that. But if they choose not to use those effects, then this card does nothing. Following that, we have the Seer of Misfortune. This is a 6,000 power base, and when a card is placed into your opponent's soul, you give it 5,000 power. It's almost the opposite of Doreen. So there are plenty of cards which give this card a big boost on your turn, and I think it's going to be pretty powerful in general. Following the Seer of Misfortune is the Patron of the Sun. This card has the ability that when placed on rearguard, your opponent soul charges 1. Again, just another bread and butter card. It also has the continuous ability that if your opponent has 5 or more cards in soul, this unit gets plus 4,000 power. which is pretty effective in building a powerful field, and allows you to attack your opponent's Protect or Excel Vanguards just right by itself. And the final card we're going to take a look at is the Hands of Fate, which has the ability that whenever you drive check this unit, your opponent's soul charges 1 and your Vanguard gets power plus 5,000. Again, forcing your opponent to soul charge and giving your field a little bit of extra strength. Altogether, this clan has some pretty powerful units, which force your opponent to build their soul, which at the same time as giving them resources makes your field much stronger. It's a pretty cool balancing act where both you and your opponent have pretty good control over how powerful the other player is, and I think it'd be really fun to play around with. But like I said, what do you guys think of these cards, and what kind of other mechanics would you like to see explored, and what kind of other themes would you like to see in clans in the future? For any of your personal ideas, let me know those in the comments section below, and we can talk about them in a future video. With all that being said though, this has been Miracle Trigger. Again, big thank you to Decimus for being a Patreon. If you would like to support the channel as well, the link is in the description, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.